All right. Well, I guess we'll start off here.
Yeah,
What the fuck? One more try.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I think I'm a boomer. I think I'm a zoomer. I think I'm a doomer. Damn, I'm Mike a zoomer. Okay. EWGWHITE coming with the heat.
I stay fooling with my bop, my tunes will make your speakers hot. Dance floor, hopscotch, baby.
Welcome to the Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I am your host, Orion, and joining me, as always, is Micah. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Orion.
We got a high-energy show coming up today, and we have a very special guest. We have Liliana.
Yep. Hi.
Liliana, so I was introduced to you as a Now, tell me if I'm wrong here.
No. I think I'm the schizophrenic. I'm the
you are
schizophrenic. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm proud. Of it.
Okay, so you are a schizophrenic trans person.
And an anarchist. I'm also a leftist, even though everyone but me disagrees.
You can't let people label you and tell you what you are. That's something you decide for yourself. You know, people will say, yeah, I can look at you and tell by looking at you that you were born this way, you know, that you aren't really what you say you are. But I believe you when you say you're a leftist.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm funded by Raytheon and the CIA, but that's just that's just what I have to do to survive, okay?
If only we were also lucky to be funded by Raytheon and the CIA. We'll start off with our first article here today on Joe Biden, someone that I thought, again, he's just disappointing again and again. He came out and he said, "Hey Jack, we're gonna have to ban menthol cigarettes." It's disgusting.
Principally, I would agree with you. Principally, as someone who enjoys tobacco and tobacco products and flavored tobaccos, but I think you're actually missing the bigger picture. I think we should slow down before we start to criticize our president, okay, our centrist king, because what he's really doing is creating possibly one of the biggest potential moneymakers for all the scalp chads out there right now.
To be fair, I did invest in 10 packs of menthols.
Do you know how much money you'll be able to make in 2 years off of 50 cartons of menthol cigarettes? You could retire.
You do have a good point there, but at the same time, I can't ignore how it affects POC communities and how he's just doing this to get back at Corn Pop.
You have to think, it's literally the same thing as racist mandatory minimum policies. This is the same thing as arresting black men for selling crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Or for
basically
trying to pass off fake $20 bills. I agree. It's just really disgusting. What's Joe Biden gonna do next? Is he gonna ban watermelon swishers? Where does it stop? Where do we
I'm pretty
go
sure
until
that's part of it. It seems like it's flavored tobacco in general, so
the ACLU came out and they basically insinuated that more black people are going to die because they're going to be shot by police while selling Lucy's than might have otherwise died from not smoking cigarettes. Which is an actual thing that they said, basically.
I mean, I can't really disagree with them because, on one hand, you choose to smoke. You choose to say, I'm gonna steal these menthol cigarettes from this corner store. You don't choose to get shot by the police unless you choose not to comply, in which case it is your choice.
Suicide by cop's pretty popular, just saying. Also, I'm not choosing to smoke, okay? I'm unmedicated.
Unmedicated.
This is my comfort medication.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta ask, are you confirmed schizophrenic or did you self-diagnose?
Okay, so
it's a yes or no question.
Let me ask my friend.
Yeah, let me hold a discussion here. It's complicated. I do doctors have talked to me about my psychosis and delusions. It's just I was only diagnosed as bipolar as a teen, which is funny.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you're not bipolar, you're transpolar. Am I right?
Thank you.
Knocked it right out of the park.
Thanks.
To get back on topic a little bit, I'm so upset about what Joe Biden's doing to my BIPOC brothers that I'm going to, for the first time ever in my life, light up a menthol cigarette in solidarity with my BIPOC kings. Let's do this.
How's that taste, man? Is that minty fresh?
What the hell is this poison? Okay, I changed my mind. Joe Biden's protecting black people. What are they doing? What are they
What the
doing to these
fuck?
black people?
No, stop being racist.
Dude, what the fuck?
Have you never smoked
I thought-
before?
I thought that I smoke.
He
I
smokes.
smoke. I thought that this would be. Oh God! I thought that
You
this.
thought this would be
like
like Christmas and a cigarette?
What
I thought
the
it would
fuck
be
do you
Christmas and a
smoke?
cigarette. What is this? What is this unholy? I'm putting this out. One, because I'm smoking in my house and that's kind of degenerate, but also because we need to ban these. I'm still gonna scalp Chad them.
But yeah,
because
but
I
also
put-
buy them up in large quantities and sell
I'm
them.
gonna buy
in
them
your-
up in large quantities
Your local
and sell
urban
them.
community center.
Yeah, and sell them around the high school and middle school in my area. I will be doing that, but I kind of agree with Joe here. This is fucked up. This is all fucked up.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh my God.
I mean, so what's your take, Leona? Are you pro the ban? Are you against the ban? You smoke menthols yourself, or what's?
Fuck. I don't know. Like,
What are you gonna do?
I-
You smoke menthol, so what are you gonna do once?
I've been wanting to quit.
Right.
I've been wanting to quit beforehand, so this doesn't really affect me too much. But like, I could understand for that people should be able to smoke whatever horrible thing they want to, unless it's marijuana. We should criminalize marijuana.
My stomach hurts, bros. Oh,
What the fuck?
Ah.
How?
it's disgusting.
How?
You're just being dramatic.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. It was pretty gross. though.
Nicotine poisoning off of one drag of a menthol. Yep.
It is fucked up though. I've done a complete 360 and walked away. My new takeaway is that banning these cigarettes will protect BIPOC from themselves, who we need to protect them for their own safety.
See, every time we take Joe Biden off the pedestal for like 5 seconds, we put him right back up.
Yeah,
Right back up there.
It's really hard to be too critical of him, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I get some people will disagree, but that's because they're just irrational.
Well, it's because they're wingcooks. They don't.
Yeah.
Their brains aren't big enough to understand the nuance of the policies that come from like neoliberal action.
I'm pretty sure something Biden crime bill or something's the new ascended wing cuck position, right?
Something.
I
That's
don't know.
basically
Did
what I
Biden
hear.
have some weird ass crime bill back? Yeah.
No. We don't talk about that here.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. People change.
Anything that happened like 20 years ago, it didn't happen.
No, you
Like, were
don't
you there?
understand. This is the same thing.
People say that he was in charge of this huge crime bill that put a bunch of black people in jail and all this shit, but were you even there to see it? Like, were you physically there with him? How do you know it's not a deep fake?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if people actually read up on this, they'd agree with it.
It sounds like one of your famous patented schizophrenic ramblings to me.
Wow, okay.
All right. Well, I guess we can move on to our next topic then. We'll go ahead and move on to our brave queen, Caitlyn Jenner, running for governor. That is right. She is taking the mantle. She is saying, let's take a moment to clap. She is getting in her car and running over the competition. That is right. Caitlyn Jenner will be the new Republican governor of California in 2021. I'm going to commit voter fraud to vote for her because what she is trying to do in that state is help them recover from a state of wing cuckery, from a state of absolute trash and filth and detritus, just filthy detritus.
Ew.
Disgusting. And she is doing I mean, I don't know any of her policy positions
honestly.
or anything.
All I know is that she's trans, which means we have to uncritically support her no matter what.
No, yeah, absolutely.
That's what my time like on the left has taught me, is that any trans person, regardless of if they're like just the biggest bigot ever, deserves our support.
Well, do you have evidence? Do you have evidence of bigotry
no.
Caitlyn Jenner?
Caitlyn's fine. It's just I've learned enough that we should uncritically support any trans person. That's the proper position.
I mean, I can get behind that.
That's the party line.
I completely agree with that because look, haven't they been through enough? You really have to go and question them on things, saying things like, well, maybe you're just schizophrenic, or like, think.
Maybe you shouldn't have hit someone with a car.
The only wing cucks I would ever consider supporting are trans people or wing cucks.
Well, that's the thing, is that centers your opinion. Look, I'm just gonna say I have no idea what Caitlyn Jenner's policies are. I'm gonna go ahead and read a little bit. Caitlyn Jenner says in the Caitlyn for California press release, I've been a compassionate disruptor throughout my life. That's pretty centrist in and of itself. Being disruptive, but also compassionate about it. I mean, that's stunning and brave. Basically, just bitching about COVID stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say, like, how hard is it to run? Like, what you don't have to say. Like, everybody just hates Gavin Newsom with a furious passion. Like he's just a scumbag. Like he's like the Democratic sleazy car salesman. Like we talked about Matt Gaetz, the Republican sleazy car salesman, and Gavin Newsom is the Democrats' version of that. He's just a hateable guy with a punchable face who everybody's pissed off with because of the way he's dealt with COVID. It's like Caitlyn doesn't have to have any like agenda. It's just like being a celebrity, which we support. We support Matthew McConaughey and in his bid for the Texas governorship. And honestly, like I feel like centrists should get behind this idea that we want to get to a point in this country where literally only TV celebrities and athletes are running for public office. Schwarzenegger was great, although like my greatest regret in life is probably not being able to grow up in a country where Gary Coleman was the governor of California. But yeah, I mean, do you agree with that? Like, is that where we want to head? That's a better reason to support Caitlyn than the trans, being trans.
I think that it's one of those things that it compounds, beautiful,
Well,
stunning,
she
brave.
also hit a jazz musician.
What?
So she hit a jazz musician apparently with her car.
What do you mean?
Their car?
Oh, right, the car thing.
So yeah,
You
he
don't
was
like
born in
jazz?
Austria. It sounds like a victimless crime to me, is all I'm saying.
Do you think it was like a tuba player had like that?
No,
like,
he
"Bwomp,
did
bwomp"?
music for shit like The Never-Ending Story.
Well, it sounds like if he didn't want to get hit by a car, he shouldn't have been dressing that way, in my personal opinion. I do think that we need more celebrity candidates, because celebrities, they travel around, they meet lots of people, and more importantly, they meet lots of rich people. And I want somebody who knows lots of rich people and is one of their peers rather than one of their lackeys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I originally, was a supporter of Trump, because I look at all these people and I don't know who they are. Like I don't know who any of these people are, but I see Trump and I'm like, I know that guy.
He tells
Yeah.
people they're fired. I like that guy.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any thoughts on this, Liliana? Or any of
yeah,
the voices in your head?
honestly-
Do they have any thoughts on this?
I think that celebrity politicians are a great idea after thinking about it for a second, because they're just as educated as the average person, which is what we want. We don't want like the type of nerds who read political theory for fun. They would be horrible for America.
We don't want nerds in general. This is an anti-nerd podcast.
No, I actually unironically agree with you that we need people that don't read political theory to lead us. People who read political theory, they jump too deep into the water and they get lost. And they drown in their own lies and their own fucking smooth brain logic that compounds in itself and gets forced down by other midwits and smooth brains, regurgitating into their mouths their same ideology. They get this idea that their vapid retardation is somehow valid, and it's not. Nothing about what they think is valid, and if I ever meet one of these midwits, I will shove their head into a fucking toilet and give them a swirly.
Yeah, I just think it's a great position that the general public could take, because then they would get the right type of policies that are from the heart instead of with all of these words and procedures and whatnot.
Look, I saw the movie Idiocracy and I said, these guys got it figured out.
Honestly.
Their president is buff as fuck. That is dope. I want to sit down and watch Ow My Balls,
yeah, dude. And they fell so far. It was such a great society, and then they just started listening to some nerd.
Some dumb nerd.
Literally just some nerd.
And what did they fix? Nothing.
So what else we got?
Let's go ahead and do this Tucker Carlson versus Governor Hutchinson of Arkansas. So the governor of Arkansas, Hutchinson, he found himself in a little bit of hot water. He vetoed a bill that banned giving children hormone blockers. So, the Arkansas people, they're like, let's ban these hormone blockers for children. And, that's a pretty standard conservative right-wing position, is not giving them that. The same parents will still give their kids fucking Adderall and shit. That's fine. But these hormone blockers, that's a no-go. And this governor stepped out of bounds, out of lockstep with this party, and said, no, I'm going to veto this bill. He goes on Tucker Carlson's show to defend his position.
And Tucker's basically like, what in tarnation?
Well, let's just see what he has to say. Let's just see what he has to say. So it starts off with him introducing his guest. Let's see how he goes about that.
Well, the legislature in Arkansas recently passed a bill that would ban doctors from prescribing so-called puberty blockers, heavy-duty hormones, to children who believe they're transgender. The law also bans surgeons from physical castration of children. But the governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, vetoed that bill on Monday. Legislatures in Arkansas just voted to override that veto, which brings us to where we are right now. Asa Hutchinson is the governor of Arkansas, and he joins us to talk about this story. Governor, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it in the middle of all this. Now, I think of you as a conservative. Here you've come out publicly as pro-choice on the question of chemical castration of children. What changed?
The way he just blinks and he's like, God damn it, Tucker. And the way Tucker is fucking, you're pro-choice. You're pro-choice on the chemical castration of children. Like, this is classic right-wing infighting.
If we really want to stick with right-wing tradition, then ideally there shouldn't be any chemical part of the castration involved. Like, we need to go about this the way Romans did and just chop them off.
Chop them off.
I mean, look,
Snip,
if you
snip.
want them to be able to sing really high in a choir, then you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta slice a few eggs to make an omelet, you know what I'm saying?
Isn't it crack a few eggs?
Well, in this case, it's cutting off a child's testicles.
I'm pretty sure you can cut an egg.
You can cut an egg. Look, I kind of sympathize with Tucker here in that taking testosterone away from these young boys via hormone blockers is a tragedy, but we shouldn't use that to ban hormone therapy for children altogether. What my proposed centrist solution is to this is mandatory testosterone for all children, male and female. Because look, here's what the Chinese are doing. You watch what the Chinese are doing. They have these super kids, like these fucking 4-year-olds who can play. No, these 4-year-olds who are doing this crazy guitar shit, that are doing this crazy, doing like algebra and shit. They're doing some weird chemical shit to their kids, and we need to remain competitive with them.
Yeah, okay,
but we're not
no,
gonna
I
beat
get
them
it.
in the brains department. They're Chinese. Me play dumb. Me no beat you at math. Look, it's just not going to happen. But where we do have the competitive edge is that we can make our children huge, hulking, testosterone-filled ultra chads. They can just beat up those stupid nerd Chinese kids. Look, this is our way forward in the world to remain a world superpower, is by giving our children testosterone and giving them a fighting chance for the future.
No, I agree. The only way that America has a future is in a scenario where all of our women can beat up all of their men.
And we're already halfway there. Our women are very fat. They can just lay on them and crush their malnourished bones.
Yeah, I'm down with that proposal.
I'm just saying, it's our only chance. Do you have any thoughts on this, Liliana?
Are you ready for your first
No.
testosterone injection?
My mind's gone blank. I have no idea anymore. The issue is that this is too intellectual for me.
We understand. That happens a lot to our guests.
That does happen a lot. And I think that that's proof positive more than anything that trans women are women, that your brain just can't comprehend my base ideas here. I mean, look, I just call it how I see it. Anyway, well, to get back to the video, I'm sorry, I got a little off the rails there. Governor Hutchinson of Arkansas, he responds to this in the way that your typical conservative dinosaur thinks is effective.
Well, first of all, you have parents involved in very difficult decisions. You have physicians that are involved in these decisions. And I go back to William Buckley. I go back to Ronald Reagan, the principles of our party, which believes in a limited role of government. Are we, as a party, abandoning a limited role of government and saying we're going to invoke the government decision-making over and above physicians, over and above health care, over and above parents? and saying,
So
you
it's-
can't
so
do
you
that.
believe it's
You cannot
healthcare.
engage in
So he does this thing that conservatives like to do, and it's a losing strategy in 2021. This guy's gonna die and be fossil and be oil in my car soon because he does this thing. Well, I think back to Reagan and principled conservative values.
Yet nobody fucking knows who William F. Buckley is anymore.
No one cares about fucking principled conservative values and, I believe in limited government. Dude, nobody cares about limited government anymore. They only use that as a bludgeon to make other people's opinions invalid, but once it comes to their opinions, they say, oh no, the government needs to deal with this. That's why your party wants these hormone blockers banned, because they don't care about limited government. It is just a tool for them to get what they want. You fucking dinosaur. Does anyone else have any thoughts on this?
Ronald Reagan's not dead.
He's in Argentina with Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, based. I think that, yeah, that's a valid point, actually, that, like, the Republican Party really has just masked off. And, like, the small government meme really is just shown to be that. They just want to be able to do whatever the fuck they want to do without any consequences. At the end of the day,
but the thing
which
is, the best Republican ideas come from the side that don't give a shit about the small government nonsense.
we need, like,
rhetoric.
just more viciously evil conservatives, because they're really funny, actually.
Well, I just support more viciously evil politicians in general, ones that are openly evil and vicious, because it's like, look, you're all pieces of shit. You all view me, you all have nothing but contempt for me and view me as nothing but an insect that's in your way of your weird grand plan of fucking children and whatever it is you do. Whatever it is that you want.
Whoa, this is going on YouTube. Wait. Activate the censors.
Just
Okay,
disconnects me from
That's
the call.
fair, though. No.
Look, all I'm saying is that more politicians need to be openly evil and just say, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. And look, I have no actual principles. I'm not gonna sit here and play with you. That's something that I liked about Trump, is that he was pretty openly, brazenly just like, yeah, I'm a dirtbag, but I'm gonna get the wall built and I'm gonna piss off the libtards. You vote for me. That's something that I find to be
Yeah.
commendable.
I mean, he still ended up kind of being more or less status quo, but
I look
Yeah.
at people like Mitch McConnell, and, like, with their stunning appearances, I really wish they could have more mask off times, like when he was just bravely defending us from that stimulus bill.
bravely.
Like, that was true bravery.
I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with blocking
Not because I
stimulus.
didn't want it, but because I think that that was in character, and he was doing what he thought was right, which is enriching himself.
It's like this. Stimulus gave other people the same amount of money as I got, and I'm better than other people, and I deserve more money than them. That's where the stimulus bill was fundamentally
We need to
flawed.
means test stimulus.
I just don't like working for money.
Same.
I should get money for nothing. I should get money just for yelling on a podcast like a retard. That's what I should get money for.
So, is there any more? Does Tucker come back, or is there any more to this video, or are we?
Yeah. We got a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
more here.
Also, the governor guy he has like a Joker smile.
Yeah,
going
his
on, which
lips
is
are like
really neat.
really fucking.
Well, you
weird.
see, Tucker, we live in a society.
Literally.
Maybe he is the bad guy
At
here.
first, I thought hormone blockers were a tragedy. Then I realized they're a comedy. Let's go ahead and see him further bloviate about his old school, traditional conservative values.
Spent a lot of
That's a good
time
SAT word.
reviewing cases, meeting with people, listening to the experts, as well as to faith leaders as well. And I'm a person of faith,
Faith leaders.
but at the same time, I'm
I'm
a
a
person
person
of
of
limited
faith.
role of government. I sign pro-life bills. I sign many bills that would be looked at as very conservative, but this is one that crosses the line.
Conservative.
There's no need for it.
Hold on.
I'm limited government. I've signed many pro-life bills. That's a pretty based centrist moment.
limited
In the
I
same
mean, yeah.
sentence.
limited government.
It really is.
Limited government anti-abortion bills.
Yeah, it's the freedom to force women to come to terms with a pregnancy.
Yeah, honestly.
Freedom of sex doesn't mean freedom of consequences. That's what I've always said
You know,
about
if
abortion.
if the conservatives stuck to their guns on limited government and like pro-capitalism, then their position on abortions would be abortion pill vending machines. Like that's that would be the genuine position. tradition of the Republican Party.
Well, let's not get off into abortion. Let's not get off into that. I just wanted to show him be a pretty based
No, I know.
centrist, and
yeah.
talk about
And you did.
how.
We get it. We get it. He's based. We get it.
All right.
He's based.
Well, Tucker Carlson, he can't handle how based this Republican governor is, and he goes on to have himself a bit of a libertarian moment.
Let me emphasize, Tucker, you are a conservative. You have a great background in that. Where are we getting back to the limited role of government, that we don't have to invoke ourselves in every
my God,
societal
stop
position
it.
out there? Let's
Okay,
limit the role of government.
Okay,
Let's let parents and
why
doctors
don't
make
we allow?
decisions.
Then why don't we allow 18-year-olds to drink beer in Arkansas? Why don't we allow them to get tattoos? Why don't we allow 15-year-olds to get married?
Why don't we allow 15-year-olds to get married, guys?
Very true.
Yeah, no, it is very
Very
true.
true.
Good.
It's a good point.
Yeah, that's good optics, right? With the Gates thing still in recent memory, to mention
nothing
15-year-olds getting married.
Besides, have an affair with a 17-year-old woman.
17-year-old woman. Let he who has not had an affair with a 17-year-old woman cast the first stone. That's what I say. Look, if Matt Gaetz said, if she's 17, I'm 17 first, it's like saying no homo. You're all good to go.
Whom among us hasn't sex trafficked a 17-year-old? Come on.
Who among us?
Yeah, so that you listen to Tucker there and you think that's pretty reasonable. Like, if you think limited role of government doesn't apply to this, why do you ban these other things? But
Well, he's just trying to turn it around on him. I mean, that's what he's doing.
well, he goes on to make it very clear that he's very, very preoccupied on his libertarian thoughts here. Let's finish this out.
So there's a lot going on here, but I'm asking as a conservative, you just invoked Ronald Reagan as if he were for chemical castration of children. What other behavior should we not use the power of the state to regulate among kids? Seriously.
Well,
Why
you
can't they have
debate it
sex at
every
15?
time. And so, look, Tucker, do you want to keep talking, or you want me to answer a question? Tucker,
I sincerely want
whenever
you to answer.
I sincerely
thank
want
you.
you to answer. Are you gonna look? I'm cool with this whole thing you're doing, but can kids have sex at 15, please?
Okay, we know that Ronald Reagan was against underage drinking, but I feel like he'd have a vastly different opinion on teenage femboys.
Are you sure that's not
I
a
feel
cope?
like he might even be for that.
Are you sure that's not a
Yes.
cope?
I respect Ronald Reagan deeply, okay? I love the movies
Oh.
with the monkey or whoever.
Or whomever. It's whomever.
Whomstever was in the monkey costume.
Look,
Probably Gary Coleman.
what I find so funny about these video clips is that they keep doing this thing when they're talking at each other where they're like, well, since you're such a principled conservative, well, I'm a conservative, I'm a principled like, they keep trying to flex their conservative dicks at each other, trying to like flex these weird muscles like, no, I'm more conservative. Ronald Reagan wouldn't want you to do what you're doing. Well, I think Ronald Reagan would want me to do this. It's so fucking weird. These wing cucks have it's like a mating ritual. What the hell is wrong with these people?
That's what they do, though. You know that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like, they do it to me all the fucking time because my positions are different enough, I guess. Like, specifically on authoritarian socialism enough that apparently I'm not allowed to be a leftist because, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's some preconceived notions about how you're supposed to think.
Wait a minute. Before we move on from that, authoritarian socialism, is that what the kids are calling it these days?
Just the whole Marxist-Leninist sphere.
Look,
I don't know.
Look, I'm not a national socialist.
I'm a firm believer.
I'm not a man.
But
I believe that Marxism is just capitalism too.
yeah.
Which is why we need to reach a synthesis between Marxism and capitalism.
Yeah, see,
But let's not call it national socialism.
yeah, or authoritarian socialism. We gotta call it something else. Maybe we'll repackage it as radical centrism and trick a whole new wave of children and dopes, just completely dumb idiots who don't know any better. We'll trick them into secretly being Nazis. That's what people think about radical centrism. That's what they think we're
And
doing.
us. More specifically.
Yeah, no, I'm aware. That's what I thought with centrists at first too, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Okay, can you illuminate that? What, like,
I mean, that's originally
Okay.
the only reason I became one.
The reason why there's such a reputation of centrists to just be fascists particularly comes from like the skeptosphere, where you had dudes like Carl Gon and the others like just LARPing as being centrists while they're like to the right of Hitler.
well, yeah, Hitler was a leftist.
Yeah, but he was a center leftist.
Look, here's the misconception about Hitler is people say that the Nazis weren't leftists because, what about the Night of Long Knives where he purged the socialists? But that's
Okay, wait.
that's classic
We need to
leftist
stop here.
infighting.
The NSDAP.
The NSDAP?
I've been censored on Facebook for mentioning the Nazis, so now I only refer to them as the NSDAP, which is like the National Socialist whatever of, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The National Socialist Democrats.
But anyways, full disclosure to everybody listening, okay, centrists are not Nazis, okay? Don't be a bunch of silly sausages and fall for the leftist trickery, okay? They're just wing cuck propaganda, right?
Well, it really depends. Like, I've seen some alleged centrists with some spicy ass takes, but more recently it's just been the Marxists that I've seen like going really big brain, just saying the most insane shit and then hoping that people think they're rational.
Okay, so let's
Where were we? What were we talking about?
let's finish
AIDS?
up this. We kind of have that as our last topic, actually. Do you want to go ahead and introduce this last topic to us, Micah?
Yeah, there was a story that was getting circulated like a week or so back, and so basically what happened is a transgender individual, a teenager, they ended their own life, and there was basically a spat between the two parents because
Oh yeah, the split
yeah, so
grave, yeah.
yeah, and like the dad, who's clearly a right winger, and the whole
No,
situation.
honestly, I think that it's a very centrist situation. Like,
Okay,
not just for gender, but ideally for race too.
really.
Like, you just want to have all of your bases covered of possible identities that the individual could have held for their grave.
Yeah, well, they split the ashes because the dad wants to consider the kid, what their born name was, essentially misgendering them, and the mom, sided with how the kid identified, and the whole situation basically stems from the right's lack of understanding and their general obsession with genitalia, which it has to be it has to be taken into consideration. They genuinely don't understand operations of the body that extend beyond physical characteristics. So while unfortunate, I think that the centrist compromise here would have been to cut the deceased body in half and give the bottom half to the dad and the top half to the mom.
That's fucking horrible.
So,
Imagine it's in his dad's hunting room, like the room where he sits down and drinks his scotch, and he has the kid's like bottom half torso and his fucking dick just hanging out, like mounted on the wall
That's
behind
my
in
son.
his study.
That's my son.
That's my son.
No, this is actually like a biblical moment. This is like when King Solomon was like, "Hey, saw that baby in half, lol."
You're trans, so what would the centrist position here be? I mean, it was generally a pretty centrist circumstance that they split the kid. They split the ashes. For
The
both
only
sides.
issue is that the state decided to have a position in it too, which ruins the balance.
That's true.
Because it invalidates the centrist like consensus that the two parents came up with.
Look, the state gets to have an opinion on that. What about 15-year-olds having sex? Can they have an opinion on that too? Please tell me more about that. That's called a callback.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree with you. The state should have, not intervened between a centrist agreement between two grieving
Consenting
parents.
adults.
Two consenting adults. Look, as long as they keep their dead kid and keep it in the bedroom, that's what I say. As long as they don't need to like flaunt it out everywhere, make it a big fucking deal, which they didn't.
Yeah, the
They
news
figured it
did
out.
though, because that's what the news always does.
That's what the news always does. They're a bunch
Fucking
of vultures.
journos. I mean, that's pretty much all
Journos, man.
that's pretty much all we had. I mean, Liliana, is there anything that you want to bring to our attention, or anything you want to talk about, or?
I don't don't know anything that's going on because I haven't engaged with too much outside of laughing at a handful of characters.
You see, the political space is basically a Marvel universe where you have a few favorite characters and you follow their escapades around, but like
Oh
the rest of them, you're
no.
like, ah.
That just makes that Harry Potter edit of fuck. The one where it was Pence as Snape that I did seem more genuine, so sure.
Yeah, we can plug that image in if you send it to us so people can see what you're talking about.
It's so fucking cursed. But like I guess that it's hard like
I don't feel
I
like
get
Snape
that
did anything
defeatism
wrong.
and shit's
Yeah,
bad.
well, no, he didn't.
But also I can't pay attention too much anymore just because personal issues.
I consider myself a Snapeist. I think he's a good guy. I just want to pull that in there. So look,
Same.
I guess I just want to ask you one more thing. You know, you mentioned personal issues. I don't want to dig too deep into that, except for to ask for like the schizophrenia. Do you think that ties in with your gender dysphoria at all?
I'd argue that I'd argue it's more probably the one that I would say has something to do with it's me having BPD.
Oh,
Because
you have a
that's
whole
feminine trait.
smorgasbord.
Ha ha ha. No, borderline personality disorder is considered to be generally more feminine is a personality disorder, which is interesting.
That is actually interesting.
Look, I want everybody who doubts trans people being the gender they claim to be to listen to our guest here talk about the multitude of mental disorders they have and tell me that that's not a woman. Tell me straight up that that is not a woman talking right now.
Okay, hey, to be fair, I've also been very sad because
See?
I caught feelings for someone, so I went shopping and ate ice cream.
Yeah, see?
Okay, I'm not
Look
a
at this.
stereotype.
Okay. Well, do you have anything that you'd like to plug before we go?
I don't have anything pluggable. Like, I have music that I've worked on, but it's been so long, and yeah.
Okay. Just thought I'd give you the opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Tune back next week and peace out, my Grillos.
I'm old as a boomer. My mindset on Zoomer. Everything cooler, long as I'm not Laura Loomer. If you think I'm not number one, I just spell that rumor. Hit the victory royale on some motherfucking Gucci. Default dance on a bitch. Hit the default dance on a bitch. Floss dance while I'm flossing in the whip. Victory royale when that chopper hit. Self-incrimination, I have no participation. News keep asking, I don't say shit.
So I'm gonna pull this up on stream here. Just 1 second. So on Discord, I'm gonna share my screen for it, and if you go into the chat, you should be able to.
Yeah, I know how Discord works.
Oh, you are trans. That's true.
Get fucking wrecked. Get fucking owned.
Far be it from me to tell the trans person how to use Discord, right? My bad.
Thanks.
Hey, no problem.